Inflation in Venezuela is more proof that money is a hoe. The banking system is a fraud. This paper is
Ay,
now
dolor,
worthless.
me volviste a dar. Qué lujo, qué lujo. Qué lujo.
You think is coming is a recession. What your crazy friends might say to you is coming is maybe a depression. You'd be mistaken. Those are lies. What is coming is a collapse of the dollar. You haven't had one of those. We've never experienced the collapse of the dollar, of the world's reserve currency. This will make us Venezuela. Make no mistake. If you want to be prepared, prepare yourself like people should have prepared in Venezuela. Soon, I don't know when, but it will happen overnight. Soon, everything will be collapsing, and the banks will close, and there will be chaos.
China is dumping US dollars and buying up as much gold as they can possibly find, a record pace of buying gold. This is all interrelated, folks. Saudi Arabia, the BRICS nations, dumping tens of billions of dollars of US treasuries. But it gets worse. The dollar is about to go insane when the yield curve starts rising again. Experts believe things are going to go insane right around March 11th. That's when the reverse repo market runs out. The Bank Term Funds Program ends on March 11th. That Powell may have no choice but to raise rates to stave off a crisis. But if rates go up, guess what happens? Small banks that are holding all of these commercial real estate loans are about to collapse. Do you see what's happening here? Rates go up, China dumps more treasuries, the Fed prints more money, and the 1%, they make millions. While we get screwed.
Putin announced this week that Russia will begin using the Chinese yuan for international payments instead of the dollar. Saudi Arabia is also in talks with Beijing to do the same thing. Speaking of Saudi Arabia, meanwhile, they're in talks with Iran as well to consider an economic alliance with China and Russia. And they can even be joining the BRIC countries, which is an acronym for these countries here, Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa. These countries all have emerging economies. So what happens if our economy and the U.S. dollar are no longer the world's dominant currency?
China and Brazil have just agreed to ditch the US dollar and do business in their own currencies. Likewise, Brazil and Argentina are working to create a brand new joint currency to sidestep the US dollar as well. France just bought 65,000 tons of liquefied natural gas, and for the first time ever, they paid for that gas in Chinese yuan. Saudi Arabia has just agreed to allow the government of Kenya to pay for their oil, not in US dollars, but rather in their own local currency. And as all this is happening, the BRICS nations are actively developing a new global currency that's backed by gold. These are just the latest nails in the coffin for the US dollar. And if this continues, if more and more nations ditch the dollar, then eventually all those trillions of US dollars that are currently spread out across the world will flow back into America and cause our rate of inflation to skyrocket even further. And so let me ask you, are you ready to pay $37 for a dozen eggs?
This is why you need to keep an eye on your dollars. The new BRICS currency is here, and it's shaking up the global economy like never before. Imagine your dollar bills as tiny superheroes. But there's a new league in town, the BRICS currency, comprising Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa. Now, this isn't just a new set of faces on bills. It's a shift away from the petrodollar system, which could mean big changes for anyone holding US dollars. Here's the scoop traditionally. Global oil transactions are done in US dollars. But if BRICS countries start trading oil in their own currency, kaboom, demand for the dollar drops. And when demand drops, value drops. That's where hyperinflation sneaks in. Too many dollars chasing too few goods. So what's next? Could the dollar tumble? Or will it stand strong against the winds of change? Keep those eyes peeled, because in the world of currency, change is the only constant.
For the coming economic collapse, because here we go. In 2024, we're going to be seeing regional banks falling and failing hard and fast. We're already seeing it. So this is not some conspiracy theory, tinfoil hat, fear-mongering. It's already happening. So if you're going to write fear-mongering in the comments, save your typing fingers because it's already happening. There were major turmoil in the banking industry last year, of course. We saw the collapse of Silicon Valley Bank, Signature Bank, First Republic Bank. All went down like a string of dominoes. Later in the year, we saw the demise of Silvergate Bank and Heartland Tri-State Bank. Combined, their $440 billion in assets created the biggest collapse since the inception of the FDIC. Think about it. The FDIC had to step in and use up almost the bulk of its insurance money to cover most of these losses. Unbelievable. So you might want to ask yourself, how much money does the FDIC actually have left? The answer is not very much. When you dive into the details of the FDIC, you will be shocked. You will be stunned, and you will leave with your jaw dropped. I'm telling you, it's a stunning thing once you realize that the emperor has no clothes.
The tea between these countries are better than any reality show you could be watching right now. So there's been a lot of talks about the US dollar collapsing, BRICS nations getting together. So what does it really mean for us? What can we do about it? Because while these countries are dealing with their own drama, we can secure the bag. The Saudis had an agreement with the US that they would only sell their oil in US dollars. And that basically means countries from around the world needed our money so we can kind of keep our dollar protected. But it looks like it's about to change because now all these other countries are seeing what the US has been doing, which is weaponizing our dollars, right? Stealing from other countries, blocking them from access to exchanging money. I mean, we've been a little bit bully lately. So other countries are joining with BRICS, which stands for Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa. And they actually collectively have just surpassed us, G7, which is full of these countries, right? Their growth has exceeded ours. How I personally would invest in this whole BRICS nation drama is be in the right places. So if you have all your money just in US dollars, you are like, you a badass, right? Because you're keeping all your eggs in one basket. So to expand that, you can get precious metals, which is silver and gold. I have plenty of videos on gold in my investing playlist. If you don't want to own the physical, which, you know, no judgment, consider owning the mining stocks. Theory is if golds go up, which it has been going up dramatically lately, right? The miners should also go up. Also consider having international stocks, because even if the US dollar might crash, you still have other opportunities in other countries. It's not the end of the world. There are some ticker symbols you can look into. Actually research it, right? If you just scroll past this and keep on moving on, you might as well have not even learned this information. So don't delay your education on this, okay? The best time to start was probably years ago, but the second best time to start is right now.